Hello, my name is Jennifer Lee, and I'm a doctoral student in social work at Tulane University, and I will be discussing the origins, principles, applications, evidence, and my summary on the theory of planned behavior based on my research on this theory. Throughout the history of the profession of social work, educators have turned to a variety of theoretical models in their search for a common theoretical orientation that will enable them to effectively organize and teach human behavior content. There are persistent questions about the value of a theory to professional practice, such as whether a theory explains development across the life cycle, suggests interventions suitable for social systems of various size, facilitates professional competence, integrates biopsychosocial aspects of human functioning, or places sufficient emphasis on human diversity. Corbett in 2010 writes, quote, "Why individuals choose to behave one way and not another has been a source of interest to scholars for decades. What role does a person's attitude play? Is social pressure a determining factor? Is past experience important? If communicators knew what factors were most associated with a particular behavior, it might be possible to influence the outcome." And herein lies the theory of planned behavior, which stems from the theory of reason action and was developed in social psychology. The theory of reason action was developed by psychologists Fishbein and Eisen in 1980. According to the initial theory of reason action, the intention to engage in a certain behavior is considered the best predictor of whether or not a person actually engages in that behavior. Intentions are predicted by attitudes and subjective norms. The theory of planned behavior was developed by psychologist Dr. Eisen in 1985, in which he added the perceived behavioral control factor to the original theory of reason action. Both theories provide the framework that seeks to study and understand why individuals think and behave in the way that they do. The theory of planned behavior is a commonly used theory for the study of attitude in social science due to its adaptability. This is according to Miller in 2017, who also states it has a simplistic structure that makes the connection between behaviors and their preceding events. It provides a theoretical framework as a way to both understand and change behaviors, in which the components of this theory can also be viewed as a way to create long-standing behavioral change. Rocklin, 2006, states that the theory views the relational components between attitudes and behavior, and that behavioral intentions are developed as target behaviors, as well as by attitudes to behavior and subjective norms. The theory of planned behavior extends the theory of reason action by incorporating the perceived behavioral control component that considers the person's beliefs, as well as the opportunities and resources needed for the behavior, which occur in social situations when an individual's intentions and expectations of behavior do not result after encountering the reality of the situation. Ultimately, these two theories assert that a person's conscious intention to behave accordingly depends on the person's attitude and view about the behavior, subjective social norm, beliefs about how people view the action, as well as one's perceived behavioral control and ability to carry out the action. The theory further states that the best determinants of a behavior are within an individual's control. It also considers various leading factors that may influence an individual's beliefs, such as personality, values, demographics, age, education, income, gender, and exposure to information via the media and other methods of informational dissemination. The theory further states that these factors can influence intentions and determine behavior indirectly. The theory of planned behavior is open to expansion and the consideration of additional predictors in relation to intention and behavior. This is according to Dr. Azin, 2011, and this is a concept map for the theory of planned behavior, as well as Dr. Azin's photograph. Dr. Azin's contact information, and again, concept map for the theory of planned behavior. Corbett, 2010, writes, she has completed considerable research on the theory of planned behavior, which she indicates is one of the most influential and well-supported social psychological theories for predicting human behaviors. In hundreds of studies around the world, she has found the theory to be successful in predicting behavior in a variety of contexts and with increasing ability. Overall, the model has a good track record, with just 3 variables able to explain 30 to 50% of the variance in behavior. The theory of planned behavior emphasizes the controlled aspects of informational processing and decision-making, and focuses on behaviors that are goal-directed and guided by conscious self-regulatory processes. Also, this theory does not assume that normative behavioral and control beliefs are shaped in an unbiased and rational manner and representative of reality. It also states that this information is often incomplete and inaccurate while being dependent upon irrational, faulty, biased, and self-serving motives and emotions such as anger and fear. This is Dr. Azin, 2006. The theory of planned behavior focuses on the behavior itself and goes beyond attitude, such as influences on behavior, self-efficacy beliefs, and perceived social norms. The perspective is that an individual may expect that performing a certain behavior will lead to experiences and emotions such as pleasure, pain, fear, regret, elation, and bliss, based on beliefs about the negative or positive consequences of behavior. This theory attempts to explain that one's intentions may be determined by one or more variables, which are captured by the measures of past behavior, as well as attitudes, norms, and perceived control. The theory implies that if one could both identify and assess the additional variables, then the direct effect of past behavior on intentions would be extinct, with self-identity and anticipated effect being added to the theory. The theory recognizes that most behaviors in daily life are performed without much cognitive effort. It is assumed that the amount of information processing that people engage in prior to performing a behavior varies along a continuum from shallow to deep. This processing involves important decisions and behaviors in situations where careful consideration is required of the behavior's possible consequences. These include the normative expectations of the individual's significant others, as well as the obstacles that may be encountered as a result. However, no careful consideration is required for the involvement of routine and daily behaviors like getting the children prepared for school, going to work, attending college, watching television, preparing dinner, and so on. This is according to Dr. Azin, 2011. This theory asserts that the best predictor of behavior is the intention to perform the behavior. The behavioral intention is influenced by 3 factors. Again, personal attitudes toward the behavior, which are the individual's beliefs about the outcomes of the target behavior. Subjective norms, which are the beliefs held by the individual about significant others' attitudes toward the behavior. And thirdly, perceived behavioral control, which refers to the perceived ease or difficulty of performing the behavior. Self-efficacy refers to the confidence that one feels about performing a particular behavior, and controllability refers to the beliefs about the extent to which performing the behavior is determined by the person. The theory of planned behavior looks to external factors such as demographic characteristics with having no direct effect on intention but possibly influencing intentions indirectly. This is according to Warner 2012. In a study of the theory of planned behavior when reviewing bullying intervention programs, written by Hawley and Williford in 2015, they used the theory of planned behavior to uniquely explain what may work in intervention programs and under what conditions. They suggest that for behavioral intentions to change, interventionists must target perceptions concerning the context in which behavior should occur, attitudes concerning the behavior, beliefs about subjective norms concerning the behavior, and perceived behavioral control. The predictive and explanatory value of theory of planned behavior has been researched with many aspects of social and organizational behavior, according to Dewberry and Jackson 2018. There are additional published journal articles that research the theory of planned behavior for behavioral understanding, interventions, and outcomes, including the following authors, just to name a few: Rise, Shireen, and Huckelberg, Connor and Armitage, Connor, Pavey, Sparks, James, and Shepard, Lavelle, and so on. The theory is helpful with establishing a framework in which interventions can be developed. The theory has been used to examine addictive behaviors while studying and evaluating the development of interventions for addiction, according to Hayden, Opston, and Lewis 2017, in which the variables for predictive utility, such as self-identity, have been added as appropriate to explain behavior in reference to addiction. Other applications include theory of planned behavior being used to predict behaviors in online environments and consumer behavior, in establishing norms contributing to a small but significant amount in predicting the intention of young criminal offenders to reoffend. The theory of planned behavior has empirical support with a meta-analysis conducted of 185 studies applying this theory to a range of behaviors. The variables accounted for 39% of the variance in intention and 27% of the variance in behavior. A review was conducted of 56 studies applying this theory to 87 different health behaviors, and the theory was able to account for about 41 to 34% of the variance in intentions in future behavior. In addition, a number of studies have used this theory to predict and explain alcohol use, mainly in student populations, with the theory's variables explaining 16.7 to 76% of the variance in intention to drink alcohol and 17% to 73.4% of the variance in drinking behavior. Zemmour and Azen, 2014, examined whether a 9-item scale based on the theory predicted substance abuse treatment completion. The results showed the theory attitude and control components independently predicted intention, and intention was positively associated with treatment completion. The results were optimistic for application of the theory to treat completion and support use of the intention component as a screener with additions and revisions suggested. The theory of planned behavior was applied to assess social work and nursing students' intentions to work with dying patients and provide end-of-life care in a study conducted by Shannon and Altman in 2018, which included a total of 181 social work and nursing students who completed a questionnaire examining intentions to provide end-of-life care, attitudes, subjective norms, perceived control, death anxiety, subjective knowledge, and socio-demographic characteristics. The results showed that students have a moderate level of intentions to provide end-of-life care, with nursing students having higher levels of intentions than social work students. Also, multiple regression analysis revealed that attitude, subjective norms, and previous experience were the main predictors of intentions to provide end-of-life care. In a study completed by Campbell in 2010, the theory of planned behavior provided a framework to explore the intentions of students to include their peers with disabilities. The theory offered guidance on an ethical framework for policymakers, and this study continues to build on the prior knowledge related to the theory and its ability to predict the intention of individuals to behave in certain situations. In a study completed by Norman and Connor in 2005, 2 studies on the theory of planned behavior and exercise behavior were reported that considered the mediating and moderating effects of planning on intention-behavior relationships. According to the authors, the theory had been applied to the prediction of a wide range of social and health behaviors, and it is clear that the theory of planned behavior is better able to explain exercise intentions than behavior. They noted that the theory provides a good basis for developing theory-based interventions to change exercise intentions. In a study completed by Peltzer, Conde, Biscara, Leichenberger, and Cremonte 2017, attitude was the main predictor of heavy episodic drinking intention. The intention was the main predictor of heavy episodic drinking for both genders, while perceived behavioral control was also a predictor among women. The theory of planned behavior allowed the authors to better understand the motivational variables related to heavy episodic drinking intention and performance, as well as to design appropriate prevention interventions. According to a study completed in an article written by Y and Zane in 2007 and published in a social work journal, computers and information technology have penetrated the field of social work, but little research has systematically studied how users respond to this infusion. In their study, users in the social services were assessed for their acceptance of information technology. A research model based on the decomposed theory of planned behavior was developed, arguing that attitudes toward using IT, subjective norms, and perceived behavioral control are important in intentions to use IT, which affect actual usage. In addition, the users consider the benefits that they bring to their organizations and clients through using information technology when forming their attitudes toward using information technology. Further evidence is as follows. In a study examining substance abuse treatment providers completed by social workers Dennis, Davis, Bernardo, and Kelleher in 2017, which was also published in a social work journal, the theory of planned behavior offered a useful lens to view the interpersonal dynamics affecting healthy lifestyle choices. Researchers have long noted how social workers fail to incorporate health-conscious behaviors into treatment plans with their clients. The authors indicated that as social work researchers, educators, and practitioners themselves, they believe their study offered social workers an important opportunity to view how helping professionals are thinking about and addressing the health needs of their clients. The theory of planned behavior is also an effective model for predicting a clinician's intentions and behaviors in promoting health-conscious behaviors in substance abuse treatment. The theory was used in substance abuse treatment literature to study the following: referrals of clients to medication-assisted treatment, client and counselor attitudes toward the use of medication for treatment of opioid dependence, client completion of substance abuse treatment, and so on. The theory of planned behavior examined residential substance abuse workers' intention to use evidence-based practices as well. My summary on the theory of planned behavior is, I find it to be a viable and validated model that can provide an in-depth assessment of the decision-making processes. This theoretical model has been used to predict a wide array of behaviors, as well as psychosocial circumstances and challenges, including, but not limited to, the following: alcohol addiction, smoking, exercise, diet, drug use, cancer screening, AIDS prevention, organ donation, activism, video gaming, water conservation, and so on. I have located evidence in support of this theory after reviewing over 41 published journal articles, with the majority of the findings and outcomes referring to the theory of planned behavior as useful, predictive, and effective. The theory of planned behavior can be tested empirically to provide information that identifies the factors that may affect behavioral intentions, which can lead to durable and long-lasting change. After conducting extensive research on the theory of planned behavior, I find it to be a dynamic and pertinent theory with a suggestion that the theory of planned behavior be taught and studied in social work academia and referred to and utilized in social work practice. I've affirmed that the theory of planned behavior is applicable to all psychosocial problems and needs on a micro, meso, and macro level. In closing, the theory of planned behavior is a viable theory to consider and learn that can contribute to knowledge, well-being, understanding, and the examination of the complexities of societal challenges. This is well needed in that social workers, we tend to be trained in a generalist approach that focuses on using a broad skill set and foundation for complicated and unique problems. So I hope you've all learned quite a bit about the theory of planned behavior. I have, and I hope that you have a very good evening. Thank you so much.